Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Strokes, Staying Clean. I'm so happy that you're here Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. And I know y'all had a great and wonderful weekend. And today we're going to talk again about recovery. And we're going to talk it from pain to recovery. We're going to talk about pain. And in my active addiction, what changed my direction in my addiction was pain. I got sick and tired of the pain that my addiction was giving me by my use of drugs. Pain. In my life, pain has made me change my behavior from negative to positive. How is that? How is that happening? How did this situation come to full-blown situation about pain showing me the way to recovery? Well, you don't get recovery until you are tired of the abuse that drugs or alcohol or whatever you're addicted to has taken control of your life. That you kept doing the same thing, expecting different results, and all you did was create more pain in your life. And in my active addiction, I accepted a lot of the pain because I continued to have the same behavior, to continue the same course of action in my active addiction. But when I got tired of feeling that way, going through that pain, allowing it to live rent-free in my head for 40 years, eventually I got tired and I changed my behavior. And how I changed my behavior is that I was so beaten up by the pain of my addiction, it wore me down where I was accepting any kind of help in my recovery that I could get. That I would believe anything else but what I was doing to myself. Because I've been doing what I've been doing to myself for 40 years. So I've beaten myself up for 40 years, expecting different results on the actions that I've done to myself. I didn't learn. I was so stubborn in my active addiction that it carried me for 40 years. And once I got into recovery, I realized that Robert was his worst enemy to himself. That he had to receive enough pain so he could give up and find a new way to solve the problem that he's been facing for 40 years. And that's recovery. So when I came into recovery, it just didn't stop there. The pain continued because now I'm getting ready to get the real pain, the pain of understanding how I got there in the first place, how I suffered for 40 years, and who is responsible for that suffering. I realized that I am the cause of suffering because I made a conscious decision to get high. I made a conscious decision to use. I made a conscious decision to break the law. I made a conscious decision to make my money illegally. I made a conscious decision to fool myself, medicate myself, and con myself in my active addiction. When all this information that recovery given me that I had done to myself, I was hurt. I was so deeply hurt. I felt like a fool because for 40 years, I conned myself in my active addiction. For 40 years, I conned myself in active addiction. So in my early recovery, I could not trust anything that I would say or do because I conned myself for 40 years. So now I'm not trusting my thinking pattern. I'm not trusting my decision making. I'm not trusting anything that I do because I screwed up and it was my fault. So not only did recovery make me see who I truly was, but it gave me the pain of what I did to myself. It made me understand that Robert is the problem to Robert's problem. And that's a terrible blow that you've been conning yourself for all these years, that you led yourself down a road that was totally wrong. How did I get here? Well, how I got here was something happened to me. Something happened to my spirit. Something happened that I was lacking at my young age. Things that were done to me and I've done to others caused me to be where I'm at today. I had to go through 40 years worth of addiction, the pain, the using. And out of the 40 years, I could say 25 years of my active addiction was not a problem. But I'll say about 15 years of my addiction in the end was a problem. "15 years. Something to think about. That when I'm 20 years of enjoying my addiction and flip to not enjoying it, I was always trying to get back to the space and the time in my life when I was enjoying my addiction. But I kept hitting block walls. I kept going back down the rabbit hole further and further and further from the lifestyle that I was used to living. Addiction had control of my life for 40 years. Why? Because I perceived my issues and my situation and my problems a certain way, caused me to act a certain way with feelings and emotions that caused me to destroy my life. When I finally gave up and wanted help, I realized my way was not working. That pain that I experienced of things constantly failing in my addiction, how problems got worse and worse, that I tried to medicate myself so I would not feel that pain, wasn't working anymore. So as I went into recovery, I totally gave up. I didn't believe that recovery was going to save me. I didn't believe that recovery was going to do all these things with my life, make my life better. I was just tired of my addiction doing the same thing, expecting different results. I didn't know where this road was going to lead me. I just wanted to stop feeling the pain. I wanted to stop feeling the rejection. I wanted to stop feeling the loneliness. I wanted to stop feeling other than myself. I wanted a normal life. I wanted a life. I wanted it. But I just didn't know how to get to it. Recovery taught me to live life on life's terms, which is a very painful situation. Because now Robert has to deal with the wreckage of his past. Now, if you got 40 years worth of active addiction, you got a whole lot of things to come over. You got so much things you got to work on. And it's all painful. Coming into recovery and working on your past mistakes, where addiction has brought you, to face the things that you've done to yourself and others, means that you have to live that pain over again. And hopefully this is for the last time. Because my pain and my addiction was alive, living rent-free in my head over and over again. That's why I had to medicate myself more and more and more. And my body tried to work with the system that I was creating for myself. So my pleasure zone, I would give myself all this pleasure. My body would stop producing. That would cause my body to have pleasure because I'm getting doses, major doses of this pleasure. My body keeps saying, keeps sending more. We want more. We want more. We like this feeling. We want more. And I obliged listening to my body. Recovery taught me that my body is a machine. That just because my body's giving the signal to my brain to keep sending down more cocaine, so it hits the pleasure zone, so I feel good, that it will destroy me and kill me. Oh, I had multiple heart attacks, and you probably seen a couple of my videos, and I talked about that. But the point I'm trying to make today is that my addiction and my pain together caused me to get recovery. And in recovery, the pain that I experienced that got me using in the first place, I had to face. That's more pain. Then I had to face the pain that I harmed others by my actions in my addiction. That's more pain I have to accept and face. So in my recovery, my pain was the catalyst to overcome the pain of addiction, because I had to face my pain. I had to face my fears. I had to accept that Robert is an addict, that Robert has a disease called addiction. And it doesn't matter whether people believe that or not. You know what you have. You know where it has taken you. You know the path that you had to take to get where you're at today. So here's the thing. I was watching a TED Talk, and this gentleman was explaining his addiction. He was explaining what he did to his daughter, what he did to his mother, what he did to his wife. He was very upfront and honest about his actions. And then you can look into his eyes and tell that it still hurts. Even though he's done went into recovery, he has recovered, he done built a sound relationship with his mama again. It's better. He got a sound relationship with his kids, his wife. Everybody's doing good. But when you look into his eyes, when he shares his pain, his experience of his addiction, you can still see the pain in his eyes. Why? Because the things that we do in our act of addiction, it doesn't go away. The pain's still there because we know we did it. But recovery teaches us to live with it. It teaches us to accept the things that we've done, to forgive ourselves, and to forgive others for what they've done to us. And to understand that we are imperfect people, that we all make mistakes. So nobody's better than the other person. Whether you have $1 million home or you rent, it doesn't matter what you have. What matters is, what are you doing for yourself? How are you making yourself better? Are you letting the pain of the mistakes that you've made be the catalyst to open up doors so you don't act that way anymore? Or are you stubborn like I was in my recovery? My way is the best way. And here's the thing, in my recovery, I realized that when I felt that my way was the best way and I couldn't see nothing else, people that knew I was making bad decisions, they stayed away from me. Because they didn't want to be a part of my decision making on making things worse for myself. They seen where I was headed, And it was not in a favorable manner. It wasn't in a way of living life on life's terms. It was the same type addictive behavior that I had in my active addiction. Recovery just taught me how valuable recovery is to me. Recovery taught me that, Robert, you are a very imperfect person and you make a lot of mistakes. Just like how faulty you are, everybody around you is faulty. Everybody around you makes mistakes. Some make bigger, some make smaller, some make smaller, some make bigger. But we all make mistakes. And in my recovery, I realized that the mistake is not important because we're all imperfect. It's what we do after the mistake that's important. Do we address it? See, in our addiction, the pain was so grave that we went looking for a new way, something better. Because we finally realized it was not working. We got tired of the pain. See, in my active addiction, I know when I go rob, I need money. I want to have enough money so I can take care of myself. So then I devise a plan to steal, to rob, so I can get this money, so I can go get high and live the life that I choose, not to work for it. But my addiction says, you're entitled to do this. They want you to suffer, which is a lie. My addiction was conning me to make sure I get more dope, my mind. So I have to watch what I say and do. It's just like, think about it. Have you ever said something and you put your foot in your mouth? You done screwed up by saying something you had no business saying? And you didn't mean to, it just came out all of a sudden. Or you gave up a secret that you promised you would not tell, but you got so engrossed and so excited that you end up blurting it out. Recovery taught me to take the cotton out of my ears and put it in my mouth so I can listen and learn. Because my way was not working in my addiction. That I need to learn information about recovery to save my own life. Also, I look back and I say to myself, I've been suffering about unsolved situations in my past. And in order for my life to get better in the now, I must clean the wreckage of my past. If you got a cloud of a situation from your past that controls how you act and how you feel about situations, then that's something you need to address, because that will destroy your life. We must clean the wreckage of our past. We must own up to the mistakes we made. This is the only course that we have to make ourselves better and to live life on life's terms. For example, if your father wasn't around when you was young, you feel a certain negative way about him. Or your father treated your mother like dirt. You feel a certain way about him. Or you watched your mother suffer trying to make ends meet to make sure you had a decent life and a good education the best way she knew how. And you watched her suffer. You watch her cry sleepless nights. Makes you feel a certain way against your father and those in the family that was around her that gave her no help. That she suffered secretly and alone. I learned that I had to clean the wreckage of my past because it affected my decision making in the present. It's just like I've been in multiple relationships and they didn't work out. Mostly got broken up because on the other side, not my side. One relationship, a woman that I was married to dumped me for another woman, which caused me to have issues about myself. Issues about myself, trust issues, all kinds of things that, Lord have mercy. These things affected me in my present, which I needed to talk to someone to overcome these circumstances, situations in my life. Because I was mentally damaged by these situations. See, a lot of us have been damaged by things of our past to make our decision making. It's just like a woman could be married to a man and he cheats on her, and then now she has trust issues in relationship and in everything because her trust was violated. So she has to work through this so she can gain herself to be the normal person that she should be and be able to deal with life on life's terms and not having any trust issues. And the interesting thing is when a trust issue on a relationship level, then whoever comes into a relationship with this person, they're going to have to deal with this person's trust issues. Because if a circumstances look like their situation that happened in the past, they're going to feel the same pain, which is going to make them be on a defensive and act a certain way. So, in reality, our pain can destroy us or our pain can get us help. Our pain can destroy our lives or it can get us some help, the right help, because we're searching for answers. And that's what recovery does. But the most important thing about recovery is that pain can lead you to recovery, to living your best life. Because if you take that pain and challenge it into energy to change your life, to work on self, your life gets better. You get stronger. You begin to develop a thick skin. You begin to see things the way they truly are and not the way you would like them to be. See, our emotional and mental status controls how we see things or how we look at things. So let's pay attention to ourselves. Let's let pain lead us into recovery. Let pain say, I am tired of feeling this way. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want recovery. And I'm going to make the steps to get recovery. Or I'm in recovery and I refuse to go back down that path that gave me so much pain. So now I must do something that I know nothing about to go down a road that may change my life. I continue to do the next right thing. I didn't think about my feelings or my emotions about the situation. I just did the next right thing. That's all I could do because my addiction had destroyed everything about me. It had beat me so badly that I was ready to give up my life. I couldn't take it no more. I wanted to give up my life because if this was life, I didn't want to live it no more. And in that instant, that pain reminded me what a nurse did to me when I had multiple heart attacks. How she told me, Robert, you don't have to live like this anymore. And I kept hearing that in my mind. Robert, you don't have to live like this anymore. And then I made the decision for recovery. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how this procedure, this roadmap was going to change my life. I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I didn't know what my benefits were going to be. I didn't know how much work I had to do. I knew nothing. All I knew is that I didn't want what I had before. I didn't want to deal with the pain that I was facing from before. I wanted something different. I wanted peace. I wanted happiness. I wanted a normal life. And as I worked on myself, my life got better. The pain slowly disappeared. The wreckage of my past was there, but it stopped having control over me. My recovery taught me why I did what I did when I did what I did and where my mindset was at that particular time. Recovery cleaned the drug out of my system so I could look at myself honestly and openly. And the pain slowly came to smiles, happiness, full night's sleep, able to take care of myself, able to work, started feeling good about myself, started having pride about myself, seeing what hard work and dedication can get you. Yes, there was setbacks, but the interesting thing, they were just issues. Because my recovery taught me, Robert, you're imperfect and you're gonna make mistakes, so you're gonna go up and down. But don't get stuck on a plateau where you can't go up for no further, because recovery is the constant battle moving forward. So what we learned today was pain kept us in our addiction. Pain got us out of our addiction. And pain taught us that we don't want to feel this way anymore. That we like what recovery is giving us. We like the doors that are being opened up in our recovery. We like how we're making new friends in our recovery. We like that we're building sound, strong relationships in our recovery. We're building sound relationships with persons that we want to be intimate and we want to love and want to live with for the rest of our lives. Recovery has given us that. We didn't expect all the blessings that recovery has given us, but it has. But we also know that our addiction has taken away some of the deepest situations and love of our family members and friends that we've lost. And recovery is teaching us how to live without these people don't want to have nothing to do with us that we love and we care about. Recovery is teaching us how to live a life on life's terms, to accept that they don't want to have nothing to do with us, because by our actions and our addiction, we have hurt them to the core. We have broke their hearts and their spirits. And in their book, there's no recovery possible. We can only hope that in time they may change their mind. But we understand that our active addiction caused this to happen and has destroyed their life by the actions and deeds we did in our addiction. We accept that. We ask a power greater than ourselves to restore us to sanity, and this power has done that. But we also ask for a power greater than us to reconnect with those people that we've hurt so deeply that don't want to have nothing to do with us. All we can do is pray and hope, because it's up to them. Their choice, it's up to them. Last but not least, remember this. Understand, like me, you have a disease. And your disease was in full bloom in your addiction. But you have arrested the symptoms. You still have the disease, but it's not active because you're in recovery. Count that a win. Count that a blessing. And remember, you've came so far to get to this point. Just because some people may not accept your recovery, maybe some people will not want to have anything to do with you in your recovery because of your addiction. Understand this and know this, that you loved yourself so much more that you've done the work on yourself to make you better. And you are an imperfect person just like anybody else. And accept their faults. Accept that they don't want you in their life anymore. Accept their choice. But remember this, and be proud of it, that you've come a long way. You went from pain to recovery, and then you had to accept the pain that you've done to yourself and others, and still stay clean and sober. Recovery has given you a thick skin that you can stand tall. So look in the mirror and say to yourself, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change people, places, or things. I cannot change people that don't want to forgive me. I can't change people to do the right thing. I can't change people to want recovery. It's a choice of their own. I understand that I have no power over nobody else but myself. And I can change me. I can make me better. But it's up to each individual to live their own best life by doing what needs to be done in living their best life. I hope you understand and got something out of the message today. Remember, your pain in your addiction was so strong that you sought out recovery. You went down a road that you didn't know where it would lead you, and it led you right here where we're at today. You're a blessing to my recovery, and I hope I'm a blessing to your recovery. Remember, together we can, by ourselves we cannot. You have a great and wonderful day.